Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be talking a little bit about my first trimester, kind of like a review on how it went. Not really a review, but just letting you know how it went for me, kind of just like recapping everything that happened. So let's just jump right into the video. So if you guys didn't know, I am pregnant. I am currently in 22 weeks as I'm filming this, so I'm definitely deep into my second trimester. I'm actually going to be finishing up my second trimester quite soon, so I'll be able to recap all of that for you eventually down the road. But today's video is going to be a recap of the first trimester, how it went, how I felt, and everything involved into that. So let's just jump into when I found out I was pregnant, 6 weeks. So right off the bat, I think I started to feel like I was pregnant because my boobs were feeling sore. So definitely that happened. It was not great. They were very, very sore. If you've ever had sore boobs during your period, then you'll know how that feels. But this was just like non-stop pain. I couldn't even lie on my side. They were so sensitive. I wouldn't let anybody touch me. It was terrible. I felt like crap all the time. And that kind of flagged when I thought I might be pregnant, and we decided to go ahead and to take the pregnancy test because I had already been late to my period by a couple of weeks. I don't think I was ready to admit that I was pregnant, to be very honest, at that point. So I held off for a few days until I was like, you know what, my period's not coming. I had high hopes that it would return, but it didn't. So I took the test and then it confirmed that I was pregnant. I was like, okay, that's happening. A couple other things that happened right early on to begin with, between like the 6 to maybe like the 9-week mark, I think I found was that I was very itchy all the time, like all over my body. I had already experienced this the first time back in November, before I had my miscarriage. And I found that this happened for me again now. I don't know if it's because my skin was just like getting really irritated and the hormones were coming in, but I was like itchy, insane, like all over my body to the point where I couldn't sleep at night. I would wake up scratching myself head to toe. I didn't really find out if this was a common symptom of pregnancy online. I definitely tried to look it up. I looked up every single symptom that I had and I couldn't find anything concrete on it, but I chalked it up to being pregnant because I'd never had it before, never experienced it, but had felt it in my miscarriage earlier last year in fall. So I assumed it was probably the same thing. Besides that though, my hair was getting insanely greasy. I used to only wash my hair once a week, but during my first trimester, I had to bump it up to like every second day. It was that bad because the grease was out of control. I don't know how, but I'd wash my hair and then by the next day, the oils were like all over my roots and I was like, cannot deal with this. Need to get rid of the grease. So had to do that to get rid of all of it, and it was not great to say the least. I didn't love it, but it definitely needed to be done. So those were some of the first few symptoms that I was starting to feel. And then after that, I thought I was getting away without morning sickness because, to be honest, I didn't really have it the last time I was pregnant back in like October, November. And at this point, I was already like 10 weeks in. I was like, you know what? I'm not really feeling sick yet. Don't worry about it. I'm good. And then bam, one day just hit me. I woke up feeling nauseous. And when they say morning sickness, it's not actually just in the morning. A lot of women actually face morning sickness like all day long. And for me, luckily though, it mostly was just during the daytime in the morning when I woke up. I found that I was able to curb that by making sure that I was always eating. But definitely feeling hungry made the feelings of nausea and morning sickness like way worse than you could have ever expected. And I did not love that. So I had to make sure that I was eating all the time, or I had little snacks around me. I started carrying mints around me everywhere I went too, because mint really helped to curb my nausea. Another thing that I found helped to really curb the nausea too was soda crackers. So we started sticking soda crackers in the car at all times so that if I ever felt nauseous while we were driving, I could just like pull over and eat some. There were definitely times that we were driving and I felt like I was so nauseous we had to just like pull over the car and just like leave it there. But I ended up curbing my nausea, and I think I only really threw up like 5 or 6 times in total during my first trimester. And I kid you not when I say my first and second trimester were like night and day. I went from feeling morning sickness and nausea to like nothing at all. In terms of like scents, nothing really set me off. I found out like later on in my first trimester and closer to my second trimester, the smell of salmon kind of made me feel nauseous, but that never made me really like throw up. I just felt kind of like uncomfortable, so I would try to avoid it. One thing that did make me throw up, I realized after testing it a couple of times, was eating eggs, like just eggs on their own for breakfast. So the first few times Peter made me like scrambled eggs and some turkey bacon, and I ate it. I thought it was fine, and then 15 minutes later I threw up. And the second time he did it, this taste of the eggs just felt off to me, but I didn't realize it was eggs at the point. So I ate them again, and then 10 minutes later I ended up throwing up. And then third time, like the smell just made me so nauseous I didn't even bother. So I just told him, like, you know what, stop making eggs for me because I'm not gonna be able to eat it. I don't want to risk throwing up again. So we've avoided that completely up until maybe about like 2 weeks ago when I started eating eggs again. And I'm deep into my second trimester now, so I think my body's tolerating it a little bit more. And I haven't thrown up from eating it, so I think it's great that I can introduce it back into my personal diet now. But besides that, it was mostly eggs that was making me feel really, really nauseous. I did have other ways of coping with my nausea. It was weird because I'd be sitting there doing something and then out of nowhere it would just like hit you like a wave and you'd have to like stop whatever you're doing. I would literally have to stop and sit there and take like deep breaths, like deep meditative yoga breaths, just to like recenter myself to make sure that I wasn't gonna throw up. It was exhausting. It took a lot of effort and mental stamina to make sure that I didn't vomit every single time that I wanted to, but it ended up working out well. I didn't throw up that much, only 5 or 6 times in total, so very, very happy about that. The biggest things that kind of like really hit me was changing my diet. As soon as I found out that I was pregnant, I couldn't drink anymore. I stopped. You guys know how much I love wine. It makes me so sad. We have so much wine at home right now. I really want to consume all of it. Every time I see somebody drinking wine, I'm just like, salivating. I take a sniff at Peter's whenever he's drinking it just to like get the smell inside, but not consuming it because can't. But I cannot wait to start consuming wine again after I deliver. Then also foods. My diet revolves around like soft cheeses and deli meats and sushi, and I can no longer eat raw sushi, which is horrendous. I've always spoken about how tortured I'd feel if I ever got pregnant and I couldn't eat sushi for 9 months, and it has been rough, guys, like really freaking rough. I mean, now that we're in Hamilton, I don't have as many options when it comes to sushi, so it's a little bit easier. I can't just run out and grab it whenever I want. But before, I would literally just go and get like spicy dynamite rolls or California rolls, and that's all I would eat, and it's just been so depressing. All I've been craving is that like texture and flavor of like salmon or tuna or scallop or just like raw anything. It just I told Peter the minute I deliver, he better have a tray of sushi ready for me in the delivery room, well, after I feed the baby, so I can gulp it down because I'm gonna be starving and I've been waiting like 8 to 9 months for this. So this girl's definitely eating all of her sushi, and I told him as soon as our kid can start consuming solid foods, I'm gonna introduce it to the world of sushi so it can enjoy it with us. And fingers crossed, the baby also likes sushi because I'll be very sad if it doesn't. Let me tell you, I'll be very, very sad. But yes, sushi, it kills me. Deli meat, I guess you can eat it if it's been cooked or boiled till it's to the point of steaming, but then I feel like that kind of like completely ruins the texture and taste of deli meat. I've only really had it so far either like as a veggie form. I've been eating a little bit of Eve's bologna, which is nice. It's like a vegetarian alternative, or salami or prosciutto if it's on pizza, and then the pizza's then placed in the oven and cooked. But it's not the same, and I'm really, really missing my soft cheeses and deli meat, so I cannot wait to be able to consume that again. I want my brie and prosciutto, or like brie and salami. I love that stuff. My diet is not catered towards pregnancy, which is the worst. I've had to update it and shift things around a lot, and I've been so thankful for vegan restaurants, especially so many of them in Toronto, that we have like a lot of options of going to, because then I never have to worry about eating raw anything. It's been great, let me ttell you. If you guys have not been to Planta Cochina yet, you need to go. They make this amazing queso fundido. Oh, it tastes like cheese. It's with cashew nuts. It's chef's kiss. You have to try it. So besides that, my energy levels hit like an all-time low. I almost every day felt like a truck had like slammed into me, or I'd run like some sort of 42K marathon. I would wake up, literally have enough energy to drink a little bit of like coffee. I've also cut down on that because you can't have too much coffee either. Eat a little bit of breakfast, and then literally within an hour, I needed to lie down and go straight back to sleep because I had no energy to do anything. It was actually really hard hiding the lack of energy because I had so much work to do, YouTube videos to film, content to shoot for campaigns, and I just had to push myself through it. Like some days I felt like by the end of the day I was a wreck because I maybe spent like 3 hours on work, but I had no energy left. And let me tell you, building a little human inside of you sucks all of your energy out. I know it's probably gonna suck all my energy out too after I birth it and have to raise it, but first trimester was rough. You could ask Peter, I was asleep in bed or on the couch like all day, almost every single day, for probably like a solid 2 months. It was really, really bad. But as soon as my second trimester hit, it was like, bam, energy levels back to normal, and I was ready to get rearing again. So I'm just glad I'm back to normal now. I have heard that in the third trimester, you do get quite tired again. So I'm not looking forward to that, but in the meantime, I will enjoy all the energy and and exuberance that I have and try to get as much work done as possible. Other than that, I didn't really feel like I was pregnant because I wasn't really showing. I didn't really start showing a lot, I think, until I was closer to like 16, 18 weeks. Before that, it just looked like I had a little food baby. I'd eaten a little bit too much, or I had like let myself go and gain some weight. And I felt self-conscious because although we shouldn't be focusing ourselves on our weight and how our body looks, I felt like I didn't look pregnant, but I felt bloated all the time, and I felt like people were judging me for it, even though I know they probably weren't and they didn't even notice anything. It's just all in your mind. But yes, transparently and very candidly, that's how I felt, and I didn't really love it. I don't know, I just felt myself getting a little rounder everywhere. I know for sure my face is rounder now, my arms are rounder, my legs are rounder, and I'm okay with it because I know all this is important for the baby. Gaining weight's important for the baby because it provides it with enough like nutrition and energy. So I am totally okay with that now, but it took me a while to get used to it because it didn't feel like I was pregnant, like visually, even though physically I was starting to take on some attributes of pregnancy. Yeah, it was really, really weird. I don't know. I definitely have pregnancy brain though. There are days when I forget what I'm even doing like halfway through the task and I can't even focus anymore. And I can definitely tell you that that is real. People definitely do experience it. So if you know someone who's pregnant and they're forgetting things all the time, or they just like drop what they're doing midway, please take it easy on them. They're probably just really exhausted and trying to get through their day as best as they can. That's the best explanation I can say for that. My boobs also got like massive. They don't hurt as much anymore now. They're sensitive, but they got huge, and there's a lot more changes that happen to your breasts that happened to me in my second trimester. So I'll include all of that in the second trimester recap. But in the first trimester, they got humongous really, really quickly and very heavy. And some days I had to get used to wearing a bra so I wouldn't feel like I was falling forward. Kudos to all the girls with big breasts. I don't know how you do it. It's heavy. After living with tiny boobies for my entire life, I understand what you mean now when you say you have back pain, because I was starting to get it, but I've gotten used to it now. Also, back pain came pretty early to me. I think I got it around like the 10 or 12 week mark. That was like closer towards the end of my first trimester. You get these like longitudinal muscle bands that come from your lower back all the way to the front of your pelvis. And as your pelvis is like expanding to accommodate for the space for the baby, it's like slowly pulling on those muscles on your back. So my lower back got really, really tight and really sore super quick. And I started getting Peter to massage me like in the mornings when I wake up and at night before I go to sleep too. And it's really helped to kind of like relax my back muscles and to help me be a little bit more comfortable, because I also sit at a desk for quite a few hours a day doing work, and it's not the best. So my back does seize up, but Peter did get me a nice little prenatal massage for my birthday this year. So it was really nice to have like a nice loose back for a couple of weeks before I went back to getting tight again. I am getting another prenatal massage next week, so I'm so happy about that because I definitely need to loosen up those back muscles as much as possible. But besides that, weird thing is my skin actually broke out a lot in the first trimester. I read online that your skin's supposed to do really, really well and your hair is supposed to get super glowy, but I think with all the hormones that were coursing through my body, it just really screwed up my overall skin matrix and I broke out like crazy for about a month. And then I ended up getting able to get the hang of it and to control it. So it's back to normal now. I do get a couple breakouts here and there, but those are mostly on days when I'm using makeup and applying a lot of products to my face. Otherwise, my skin has been quite good recently in the second trimester. But yeah, first trimester, my skin was a nightmare. I also very quickly stopped fitting into my clothes. I think around like the 8 to 10 week mark, I couldn't really wear my pants that were zipped up like my jeans comfortably anymore. If you saw me in any of my videos on Reels or on YouTube wearing jeans, I was sucking in my stomach like heavily to the point where it was starting to hurt, just to be able to hide any sort of visuals of like a semi bump or some sort of, I guess, extra fluffage there so that you guys wouldn't catch on to the scent of me being pregnant. But it was not great. I definitely don't fit in any of my pants now, and a lot of my dresses that I've tried on and tops recently, especially if they're buttoned and they don't stretch. So I've been trying to just kind of like modify and live off of leggings and sweatpants and sweatshirts recently. Do need to dress a little bit nicer for Spain, so I have a couple of loose dresses I'm excited to wear, some empire waist ones. Those ones are great. But besides that, the majority of my closet no longer fits me, and I'm not quite sure what I'm gonna do come fall when it gets a little bit cooler outside and I have to start wearing a lot more layers and pants to keep warm. But I'll keep you guys updated once we get deeper into that season. That is essentially it for my first trimester recap. I don't think I have anything else that I missed that I didn't share with you guys yet. Let me know in the comments down below if there's anything that you experienced when you were pregnant that I forgot to mention, and I will reply back and let you know if I also experienced that as well. It's What I can definitely say is that first trimester was really, really rough on me, almost to the point where I was just really unhappy at some points, and I was just like, why? But I've come to understand that you can love the result but not love the journey. Pregnancy is not an easy task for everybody out there. It can definitely be really grueling and tough for many people, especially if you do want children. It's hard to try to push through it, and unfortunately for myself, I seem to get stuck on like the lower end of the stick. That's not quite great. I know some women have way worse experiences than I do, so I'm very thankful that mine wasn't too bad. But I'm very happy now to be in second trimester and to have a lot of those symptoms that were from the first trimester be gone, so I can kind of enjoy life again and find my groove and get my energy back and like go back to doing things that I liked, minus all the food, because that's really sad that I can't consume sushi anymore. But yeah, that's it for my first trimester recap. I have so much to share with you guys about my second trimester. Like, so much more has happened, so much has progressed. I will keep you up to date with all the ultrasounds, and I might insert a couple of videos here and there, kind of like show you guys what's been happening since. I'm really excited because Peter is finally able to join me again in a lot of my ultrasound appointments and with the OB. We'll keep you guys updated on that, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video and you stay tuned for our little pregnancy journey. I know a lot of people asked if my channel is going to become like a pregnancy and family channel. I don't think it will. I feel very strongly about the privacy of my family and my future child too, so I don't think I'm gonna like feature our baby front and center in front of the camera all the time. We will, of course, keep you guys updated on our life and what's been going on, and things have changed, and if there are things that are relevant to the topics that I regularly talk about on here, such as like fashion, travel, and beauty that relate back to also pregnancy too, then I'll share my take on that. But besides that, I don't think I'm gonna really transition too far away, because this will never really be a family channel. I don't think I want to do that. But yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying this new series of mine and following along on our pregnancy journey. I'm so excited for you guys to kind of like join us and to see how things go, and for a little bundle of joy to join us in early December. Oh yeah, if I haven't told you guys, our due date is December 3rd. So excited. We're gonna have a baby for Christmas time. I cannot wait to share our little third person that's gonna be joining our family. Yeah. I hope you guys have an amazing day, and I will catch you in the next video. Love you. Bye.